we really didn't expect to see them yet, so we're still waiting for those to come in. We have had some nice upslope all day, giving us some light to moderate snowfall all throughout the Front Range. We've been with the Titan out here on the west side of town. We're heading down C470 right now. Let me give you a look out there and give you a look at the road. So this is basically what most of the freeways look like out here when you're running around town. You have aisles of slush and some snow building up in the aisles, but you still see the pavement out there. So what that means to me, I think, is it's a good time to go wherever you need to go for the night. So what we're expecting is that these heavier snow bands will move in. I'm in here in the Weather Titan looking at some of the latest computer modeling, and it still looks like those bands are going to come set up. So we're going to have a little bit of a stronger upslope push starting probably about 3 o'clock and getting heavier by 5 o'clock. And then we're also going to have a little bit of upper air support pulling some of those some of that upslope up further higher into the air. So it looks like we're going to get some very heavy snowfall. Right now what we've been seeing is about the 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch per hour snowfall rates from time to time out here in Lakewood and Golden, and even down here near Ken Carroll and Littleton is what we've been seeing. We've got maybe a 1/2 inch to maybe an inch of snow on the roadways here as we go down C470 here, heading kind of down into Littleton. We're gonna get off at Wads. We're gonna get off at Wadsworth up here and take a look and see how some of the major arteries going through town are doing. It's pretty impressive. Look at those roads. I mean, this is what happens when you go from tying a record high temperature for a day yesterday, which was 74 degrees, and then going into today where, I mean, we're sitting here at 20 degrees is what the Titan's picking up here in the Littleton area. So that is a 50-degree drop. We just went up to Genesee, and on I-70 up into the foothills, it's 14 degrees in Genesee. So we're getting some really cold temperatures, and even I-70 up into the foothills is still mostly just slushy. You can see the road, you can see the asphalt down there. So it's good driving conditions right now. If you wanted to be able to get to wherever you're going to be for this evening and for tonight, now would be a good time to do that. We have seen some trouble. We've seen some trouble out here on the roads. We had one semi truck. We don't know if it was completely weather related, but he slid and hit the guardrail up on top of the interchange there coming off of C470 onto 6 into Golden, and there was a fuel leak. So he had a fuel leak. They had to come. They had to bring the environmental cleanup crews out there to clean up that fuel leak out there. That's cleaned up right now. We've seen a few just minor incidents, just 2 vehicle fender benders, but what's going to happen here as we kind of go into this evening is we're going to get this so this upslope that's coming in here from the east, kind of pushing up the elevated areas, giving us just a little bit of light to moderate snowfall rates for most of the city. Looking at the radar right now, we're still not seeing anything. So the reflection, the reflectivity coming from the radar showing you exactly how big those hygrometers are in there. It looks like, you know, we've seen some big ones every once in a while, but we have not seen a steady, say, anything over a 1 inch per hour snowfall rate yet, but we do believe we're going to get that. So that's kind of what we're waiting for. We're waiting to see what happens. I know a lot of people, they're asking, you know, that's that's kind of a rough position to put a lot of people in, and even their employers, because it was really not that bad this morning. We did get, a lot of us got that drizzle that actually was able to freeze to a lot of the surfaces, not so much the roadways, but a lot of the neighborhood streets, sidewalks, patios, and things like that. We did get that ice going early on this morning, but once you got out onto the freeways and some of the bigger roads, it really wasn't too bad. So the commute this morning to get to work and to school and to wherever you go, during the day was not that bad. So then you have to sit there and ask your employer if you could leave early to avoid some of the mayhem that will happen tonight, and it always does. It doesn't even have to be that 2-inch-per-hour snowfall rate to if the time's out right when everybody's leaving, then I mean it doubles your time home at least. I mean, if it takes you 30 minutes to get home, it's going to take you an hour to get home tonight. Just that is how slow things get. And we also believe that heat that is able to be stored in the roads from that 74-degree day yesterday will eventually be overcome. And two reasons. One, the temperatures are continuing to drop. We will probably get back into the teens here for most of us in the metro area shortly after 3 o'clock, maybe 4 o'clock. And then that's when the heavy snowfall rates are going to come. And when that snow is so heavy, it gets on the roads and it has a very fast cooling effect. So you'll notice it just flips over really quick and just delivers where a road just looks kind of wet, and then it goes to more of a accumulation on the roads. And then, of course, I mean, here's is this WADS? So we're taking a look at WADS out here. You can see, I mean, there's a little bit more, white showing up on the roads. These roads cool down a little bit faster. You don't have quite as much of the high-speed traffic that you do up there on C470. So the heat from the engines and the friction from the tires don't have as much of an impact on a road like WADS. So you can still see it's not like a wet surface, but you can see that there is a lot more snow in the aisles and on the side, on the shoulders, and it's even starting to show up on the main driving path as well. So some of the bigger roads throughout town are going to get packed as well, and that's not bad. That's easy to handle as long as you are able to handle the intersections, because that's where the trouble happens. If you're not able to come to a complete stop as fast as you want and there's an accident at an intersection, that bogs down traffic for the rest of the commute, basically. I mean, there's no recovery from that. And then once the vehicles are packed in there and not moving, well, of course, a snowplow is not going to be able to get in there and plow that, so it just starts to build up. So there is a lot of potential here as we go into the evening to really have some trouble on the roadways. So and a lot of people are asking about snow accumulation as well. You can see these cars out here. You look around out here, it's starting to look white. We're starting to get some accumulation. We saw a ½ inch to almost an inch the last time we stopped at a gas station over in the Golden area. So we're not really, pushing up the words towards an inch or anything yet. And a lot of people, I mean, that's a lot of people's favorite topic, right? I mean, snow totals, that's my favorite topic as well. I mean, I want to see how much snow is able to come out here. And really with it's all going to depend on those bands. We do have potential still to get upwards close to 6 inches on parts of the town that are west of I-25. So it really looks like that upslope where it's going to be pushing and dropping is going to be right kind of just to the west of I-25 there, and that's what all the models are showing. Even though that's not really verifying on radar just yet, it's just kind of a gentle upslope that's delivering light to moderate snow to everyone. It looks like, so we may have a situation where maybe they get 2.5 inches at DIA. So, Denver's official total for this storm could be just 2.5 inches, which is not really that impressive, but it doesn't, of course, always tell the story because DIA is not in the city, and it really there's no good place to put a sensor in our city to represent the whole area because it varies so greatly from just 20 miles from east to west and north to south. I mean, it varies greatly. So We could see, I still think we could get 4 inches in the downtown area. So Logan and Spear, where Channel 9 news station is located, I think it's a good chance we could get 4. The models are kind of reflecting that. The Euro, the NAM is now showing roughly 4, and the GFS, which was the higher going into this event, has kind of come down to the 4s as well. So 4ish down in the metro area, and then of course on the west side, there's probably going to be some areas that will be able to pick up 6 inches, because we have a really good start here. We've got a good base going out on the west side of town, really anything west of I-25, but we have that good base going out here. So when we get those heavier bands, if they come, I mean, there's always bust potential with those bands because it relies a lot on topography, but in a setup like this, it usually is somewhere in the metro area that really gets that setup of the heavier upslope banding. So looking at the Euro is the model that I like. The Euro is always, I think, the most accurate to me for all of Colorado. Really, I think it does a great job. Usually, is not off by much, and it's showing, you know, kind of the Ken Carroll area with the potential of going over 6 inches. It's showing kind of like the El Dorado State Park area just south of Boulder, and a lot of the Larimer County foothills. That's the biggest kind of swath of potential right there in the Larimer County foothills. Haven't had any reports really from the foothills of anything too dramatic just yet, but whatever they've been getting so far, they've been able to accumulate. We were up in the Evergreen, Genesee area, and we didn't really see too much, maybe an inch or so up there. Didn't actually measure, but just from looking at it, it didn't look like there was anything too significant up there. So the snow totals, I mean, I don't know, I don't really think it's going to blow your mind when it's all over with. You know, a lot of 4s, I think, and a lot of 5s in the metro area, but that's actually not very common. I mean, the Denver metro area is really famous for 2s and 3s. So anytime we have potential to get 6 inches in the metro area, I think that's a pretty decent storm. So, and just because of the timing, here we are, you know, we're coming up in the Bellevue Crestline area of WADS here. Let me give you another look out here. You can see those aisles where the dotted lines would normally be, starting to get a little bit more coated. Still not really getting temperatures down too far. It is going to continue to drop though, so there's a little bit of diffused sunlight coming through this shallow cloud layer that is just kind of being able to maintain the temperatures that we have. We're getting 20 to 22 degree readings out here on the west side of town, and that, you know, when we lose the sun, when the sun goes down, it's gonna continue to drop, and it really does look like we're headed for single digits eventually. I think by Tuesday morning we'll be close to 10. I think the Euro has a 10 right now at 6 a.m. tomorrow morning, and so that's another thing that we should talk about is tomorrow morning. So after about 10 o'clock tonight, I think the really heavy banding potential will dissipate, but we'll go back to what it is now. So we'll get, in the morning, we'll very likely have some light to moderate snowfall all throughout the metro area, and then the temperatures will be close to single digits. So that's going to be about a 60 to 65 degree drop from our high on Sunday down into Tuesday morning. So, and then there are a couple of little surges. So as that, we have a very disorganized surface situation where there are several different low pressure areas that are moving, but as the larger one moves in, kind of starts to move away, kind of out into the Great Plains, it'll give us one, two maybe good surges of snow potential again, and that looks like it could be about 6 a.m. tomorrow morning when it gives us that last surge. So tomorrow morning, I mean, is going to be very slow because we're going to have all this whatever snow we get overnight up until midnight or so, and then we're going to have the temperatures just start to impact that, and then the traffic will be off the road, so there won't be any heat from the vehicles. The only good thing about that is that snowplows and road crews will have an opportunity tonight to get caught up after this. Who knows what's going to happen? I mean, but between 4 o'clock and 10 o'clock, I think the Denver Metro could be in for some good punishment. As you see, we're coming up here, to Quincy and Wads, and you see that it's just the snow in the aisles has kind of disappeared. So we're seeing a lot of different conditions right now as we go through town, and it all kind of matters of how the wind impacts the road and how the road is able to maintain or lose that heat that it accumulated yesterday. So, I mean, bridges, overpasses where the air can get underneath them, of course, those are already starting to get slick. And then any type of, any area that is free with the wind that has been able to cool them, that is the areas that we're seeing the snow sticking to the roads. And then other areas like this spot here on this part of Wads, we're not seeing that. So I know that hopefully, I know you guys are maybe joining us on a few different platforms, but I don't think that any of them were able to, ask us questions. So hopefully, just in generality, we kind of address some of the things that you're thinking about. I know one of the other questions we have been getting, though, real quick, is about the airport. We haven't heard of the airport having too many troubles right now, but when we go into tonight and if we get those 2-inch per hour snowfall rates, the visibility is so low that they are not able to land or take off, with the aircrafts out there. So we're probably going to get into some delays here tonight, probably after 5 o'clock. And then depending on how bad those delays get, how far behind the airport gets, those delays may carry over into the morning. And then we're talking about those really cold temperatures where they're going to really have to take their time de-icing the aircrafts. So I think right now it doesn't seem like DIA is going to be, the huge mess with cancellations. They'll certainly get some, but I don't think we're looking at just about every airline canceling flights. I think they'll try to just back them up, delay them, get them in when they can. If they have to land them tonight at 10 o'clock, between 10 and midnight, maybe they'll be able to get a few surges in there that are delayed, and some of them that are coming in might just they might have to land them somewhere else. I mean, Colorado Springs Airport's going to have a little bit better conditions than us, but they are still going to be looking at some banding down there as well. So that's I would say, if you have a flight tonight or tomorrow morning, don't even mess around. Call your airline, call your carrier, and ask them if they're anticipating anything. If there's anything you can do, they won't charge you for any type of changes that you have to make to your flight. If you have to put it off, if you can, but you might want to check with them just to make sure that you have all your options covered. Because I mean, if we get that heavy snow tonight, they're going to get behind as well. So, and then this looks like we're going to start to see some nice clearing. It won't be complete, but after that last wave comes through in the morning, as that low gets right into that spot, moving out onto the the eastern Great Plains, we'll start to see it become a little bit more broken. So you'll get a break where you'll just get in a flurry, for an hour or so, and then by the evening hours, it's going to be completely gone, even from the mountains. So this one will be moving out, and then of course we've got another one coming in right behind it. So we'll have an opportunity for a little bit more snow Thursday, Friday, Saturday, but it looks like mostly a mountain event right now. Let me just take a quick look at the last Euro here. It is, yeah, the Euro does show, it's been sticking to kind of a Thursday night scenario where we'll get a couple of surges of snow showers in the Denver metro area, and then on and off through Friday as well. So maybe Thursday night, Friday morning, we're looking at maybe a little bit more snow, but the potential is much lower than this storm. This storm is definitely on the boards right now. It's really our best scenario, even though there is even one more after that around the 13th of the month, where it's showing a little bit, another system with some potential right now. But for right now, this is really the best one on the boards right now. So hopefully that has answered a lot of your questions. Let me give you one last look outside. See, the problem when it's a daylight like this, these flakes are actually fairly decent sized right now that are coming down here. They're much larger than they were just about 10-15 minutes ago. But the rate, so when we're talking about the rate that they're falling, it's kind of the rate of which they accumulate on the ground. So if it's 2 inch per hour snowfall rate and it is able to maintain that rate for 1 whole hour, then you get 2 inches of snow in 1 hour. But it never, in a dream scenario, it does every once in a while, but it never really lasts for a whole hour. But you'll get these really heavy bursts where you'll get, and you'll get an inch in a half hour. So that's kind of what that rate means. But when you're looking at the snowfall, it's not really the size of the flakes themselves, but it's the space in between the flakes as they fall. So it's a high snow visibility or snowfall rate when the snow is coming straight down and the visibility is still very low. So it's not low because the wind is blowing it, but it's low because that rate as when it's falling is very heavy. So, and then of course tonight, a lot of that may happen after dark. So that adds another element of difficulty to your driving. So that's kind of the reason why the National Weather Service and us here at 9 News have been kind of pushing a little bit more of a little bit more of an urgent message with this one, even though it is, it's only an advisory, except for, Jefferson and Boulder counties on the western side of town. And we're only looking at between 3 to 6 total inches for most of us. So it's not really that shut down the city kind of storm, but just because of the timing of the greatest snowfall potential being during the evening commute, that's really the only reason why we're keeping a really a super sharp eye on this one, a little bit more than we do on a normal 4-inch winter weather advisory type storm. So all right, I think we are going to move on to another thing here. So we've been chatting for a little while. Check in with us, because I think we're going to be doing some more of these later on this evening, and hopefully for those of us that want to see crazy exciting snow, that does come through. And if you have business that you need to attend to tonight, hopefully for your sake that doesn't happen. So, but either way, I think it's going to be pretty difficult to get around town tonight. So we're going to sign off and head on our way and gather some more video for the newscast coming up tonight. So take care, guys. Bye.